I'm in the right vein. It's just showing me that you're on the path that you need to be on.
I couldn't help but note your pain. My pain? It runs deep. Share it with me.
So that was always encouraging because for the longest I felt very, very lost.
Yeah.
Because it's just like I don't want to force myself to do certain things, to create, to be in certain spaces that I don't want to be in.
Yeah.
So to be able to be like, oh, okay, not even like there's a community, but there's a vein that I'm going down. Because they white. Josh is a white boy from Colorado. You feel me? I think he might have been in California before that. So he's like a hippie white dude. You feel me? So his demographic is clearly gonna be white. The
Yeah.
other dude, he's kind of Spanish though, but he's like kind of Brazilian, so he got that exotic look of word case for me. I'm trying to bring this to hood people,
Yeah.
or like people that's like, people that's like black people that's like, I don't know what they like. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Just
I think it's important to like explore this space and kind of find out, where you belong in it.
mm,
So, trying to do what everybody else doing is a good model as far as uh, training yourself, I guess, in a sense. But at the same time, I think staying true to who you are in the process is going to help you to develop and help you to grow. And as far as when you putting the content out,
mhm.
well, yeah, being authentic. Because if you feel good about what you're putting out, you're gonna be inspired to do it every single day. If you're coming out like, if it feel like work, then it's not fun no more.
Mhm.
You know, so you just stay true to what you want to do. Like if you could just do your journey, you follow me on my journey.
Mhm.
And one thing I liked about the that Kanye West documentary
Mhm.
was when he was dropping his album. At that time, like the content he was putting out wasn't typical of a hip hop artist at the time,
Mhm.
but he felt like this is who I am and this is what I want to represent. And if I'm gonna do it anyway, I'm gonna do it this way. And I feel like that's how we gotta approach our content too. We gotta stay true to ourselves, and that's gonna help us show up every day.
Mhm.
So you might feel like the thing. What inspired you to start watching like Josh's content? Like what inspired you to go in a direction as far
Um,
as training in that way?
Training in that way, man, it's something that just it connected to me. It's just like all that other training. It was just training for training's sake. This felt like therapy to me. You know, and then being able to see all of the things that he's able to do. You know, with his body, which is the thing that I really that I'm going after uh, achieving for myself.
Yeah,
You know, and all about longevity. I've always wanted to train for longevity. I want to make sure that when I get older, it's only in age, not in body. And so for me, that was like it was just a natural kind of symbiotic, you know, connection.
yeah, yeah. Cause I've been training since I'm 6 years old.
Right.
So my brother got me into training. I remember first summer I started working out. We would run about a mile to a park. We
Mm-hmm.
get to the park, we'll do some push ups, sit ups. The park had like a trail, so we run the trail. Each uh, so distance would have exercise equipment we could jump on and do some workouts, and then we'll
Mm-hmm.
run back to the house and then do some more push ups and sit ups.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my go to. So that's why I always do push ups and sit ups because it's
Mm-hmm.
something I've always been doing. But as I got older, I became an athlete. I started doing like more running. I started doing more weightlifting
Mm-hmm.
and things like that. And these are just things I knew. It wasn't really that I had a whole identity besides this is how I was trained doing my sports activities and what everybody ever trained me. So, finally at a point in my life where it's like, okay, what type of training do I want to do?
Right.
I've been doing the running and weightlifting because that's just something I was always accustomed to.
Right.
So I just remember when I held a run walk event where people would walk, run, and would do a workout routine. And after our first event, that's when I bumped into you guys at the bars, and that's when I seen y'all. Y'all was doing the bent arm hold, and everybody was holding themselves up. Y'all was counting, see how long they could stay up there, and just everybody was just kind of like encouraging each other to push as hard as they could. And I love to see that environment of people working together. So I decided to stay. Y'all was inviting, so I stayed over there, jumped in a couple of routines with y'all, and I'm like, you know what, this is what I like doing. I got invited into calisthenics at that time. I always done it, but I never looked at it as an entity, as a whole different way to work out.
Right.
So once I started doing calisthenics, I started to develop this desire,
Right.
to work out. Like, I want to get good at doing the flag. I want to get good at the muscle up.
Right.
I want to do all these exercises I never really focused on. It's like I don't just want to get stronger. I want to develop a skill now.
Right. Yeah.
So I think it's important. Everybody find their own journey when it comes to this workout thing. So as far as me putting out content, I kind of been all over the place because it's like I got this background of running. I got this background weightlifting. I got this background of calisthenics, and it's like it's important to be clear about the audience you're trying to target.
Yeah.
Because like you trying to help everybody, you putting all this, all your content out. When you try to reach everybody, you're reaching nobody.
Yep.
So yeah. I mean,
Yeah. So that is literally the reason why it's like, okay, now I got a path, I got a journey that I'm going down, and I'm gonna stick with it. I'm gonna keep doing it. I'm gonna make sure that I am fully invested in it and all of that stuff. So
yeah. So what usually like throws you off your path? Because I know we try to be as perfect as we can, but life happens. What's some things that usually throw you off, and how do you bounce back?
thing that usually throw me off is doubt, being overwhelmed with like life stuff, um, and analysis paralysis. So too much information makes me, like, oh man, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. Oh, maybe I should. All right, maybe I should learn this more. Maybe I should do this more, or whatever the case may be. And I just, what throws me off most is just being a spectator versus being somebody who was actually involved. You know, just because you feel like you're not there. Like I'm new to this, whatever the case may be. So always second guessing yourself. So that's what it is. Yeah.
So when you fall off, how do you bounce back? What's that process look like?
Usually the bounce back is literally me taking some time to myself, isolating myself, and just really, really breaking down those things. Like not just letting those things be the final decision. So taking my using my second reaction as a springboard to coming up with a, a clear um, point of reference or a clear understanding. So for me, it's mental, man. It's getting into that mental gym. It's not really necessarily talking to that many people or anything like that. It's really just getting by myself and letting me and myself have a conversation. Because really, at the end of the day, that's who really is involved in it. Now, I'm not saying that other people don't egg that on. Other people don't help that because I definitely have amazing people around me that um, give me great advice and they're very helpful people, people that I look up to. So I have those people. But what really gets me back is just like me really just going inside.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's important when you in those moments to understand you too, and going inside, understanding you, so you to understand what you need to do as far as creating an environment around you to allow it to happen, being around the right people. Because, you know, hey, if we're in the same place and we talk about working out, we're going to meet up at this time. We're going to hold each other accountable. We're going to work out, you know, and just setting some clear standards for yourself. And sometimes it can be tough, definitely when you caught up in a pattern or you caught up creating a new habit that's not serving you. You know, sometimes breaking that habit can be difficult, but I think the most important thing is just to recognize that, man, I'm in a cycle that's not serving me right now. So the first thing I can do is step out of it right now. Like, I can step out that cycle right now. So, for instance, I've been getting up at 5 o'clock. My alarm been 5 o'clock in the morning. I don't get up to probably like 5:15, 5:20. You know, so you know what, you know, something I would do that usually, if I really want to tap in and take control of that situation, I'm getting up at 4:30. And when I get up at 4:30, I'm gonna go for a mile run. So that's the tough part, because especially when it get cold outside, it's like, you know, I'm just stay, you know. But you know, that's what makes it work though. So if it's cold outside, I'm going outside for a mile run at 4:30. Just shows it shows me how serious I am about this. And the more I take this serious, the more I'm gonna follow through with it. You know, like no matter what, I'm gonna follow through with it. You know. So yeah, like knowing your environment and knowing yourself, and it's like, for me, it's essential and the bounce back, because you know life happened, and usually it's when you get comfortable too. You know, like stuff start working, the body start looking good. You know, the ladies talking to you, and the money coming in. You get comfortable, and the next thing you know, you start doing some things you don't normally do, eating at places you don't normally eat. You know, staying up later than you usually do. You know, hanging with people you don't usually hang out with, and all of a sudden you find yourself doing different things. It's like you just slip for one moment because you got too comfortable. You know, so yeah, I feel like these cycles are important though. So
no, they are.
Yeah,
and that's another thing too, is me understanding that the cycle is the growth. Like going through that cycle is like compounding interest. It's like you're building on top of something. You're never starting at you're never at the beginning ever. You know, if you really understand that. So having that mindset is like, yo, if you wasn't growing, you would have these cycles. Like, you feel me? Like, it's like those cycles are needed. Like, it is the growth, is those cycles. It is that getting comfortable. It is, you know, falling off of whatever routine or whatever the case may be. That is the cycle. And though those people who have who are at a level of mastery is because they they literally let the cycle be the cycle, and they don't look at it anything other than just that. That it is a cycle. They know for a fact that there's going to be a point in time where they're going to get back to wherever it is they need to be at. So they don't really harp on that. For some people, it's a couple of seconds. For some people, it's a week. Other people, may be a couple of weeks. Some people, may be a couple of months. But eventually, they're going to get to a point where it's like, oh, yeah, okay, it's time for me to get back. And not being afraid of that, not feeling like, oh, man, I'm letting myself down, or I'm not, something like that, you know, whatever the case may be. So that's very powerful when you can just start to accept the cycle, and the phrase "it is what it is" doesn't just become a phrase, but it becomes a behavior, and it becomes a mindset. You're gonna do whatever it is that you see. You're gonna get to wherever it is that you want to get
yeah. But what about the people that don't get there? Because there's people out there that don't even realize they got cycles. They just believe that this is what life's supposed to be, and then you got people that act like they can't get out of their circumstances. They victims, you know. So, you know, like, you know, for us, you know, maybe we somewhere in the middle where we find ourselves going the wrong direction and we bounce back. You know what I mean? And then maybe you got some people out there that's constantly just in this certain zone where they just constantly growing. You know, a setback for them is probably a win for us. You know what I mean? But it's like, how do you identify, like, or how do you even change it, if anything, if you're not even aware?
Well, that's the first thing, you gotta get aware.
Yeah.
and sometimes, and well, most of the time, getting aware is getting uncomfortable. So some people, they got that one friend that's gonna tell them exactly what they want to hear, you know. But you do have a friend that will tell you the truth.
Yeah.
That would like if that put you think about in your head like okay I'm gonna go to this person and we gonna be flowing they just gonna be agreeing with whatever case would be, but you got that other person whether it's your mother, uncle, father, uh, close coworker, whatever. Like there's somebody that's that's not that's not as emotionally invested in whatever it is that you have going on as you,
Yeah.
and so they're not going to be so compassionate. Honestly,
Yeah. Well, I think nobody's gonna be emotionally
yeah,
involved as much as you are
yeah,
involved with yourself.
yeah,
And so, like, even if there's no level of awareness, it's unfortunate,
mm,
but you got to understand yourself to the full capacity.
yeah,
You know what I mean? From
yeah,
how food affects you to how your sleep patterns to you working out, not working out, to you talking like this, to you listening to this music, to every aspect of your life. It should be an experiment. You're exploring if this thing works for you or not, you know, and nobody's going to be able to grow you the way that you can grow you. So like knowing the people to have around you, one, like with me and you, it's a certain frequency that we on, so we can have certain conversations that can be productive and we can grow in a certain manner where I can have the same conversation with somebody else and they might not be ready for that conversation. And they might be that person that's like, yeah, you know, just agreeing with everything that I'm saying, you know, or completely disagreeing, or you know, whatever it might be. And you know, the idea for me, you know, is like you spend the most of your life with you, right?
yeah,
Nobody's gonna spend as much time with you as you. So it's like you got to be your greatest support system at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And so it's important for you to show yourself grace.
Yep.
It's important for you to be patient with yourself.
Yeah.
And it's important to just realize like this experience you're going through is a learning experience. So you can't do no wrong. You just go through it.
Yep.
And I was just talking to one of my clients today, and she going through some things, and this idea of like, you know, what was happening to her, it hasn't happened yet, but it was causing this huge emotional reaction out of her.
Right.
And it's just like anything, like if you get ready to jump out of a plane or jump off a cliff or something, that first feeling is like this most terrifying feeling you have.
Right.
After you did it and you experienced it, it's not that bad.
Right.
And it's just kind of like how all things in life are. You know, you fear losing this job until you actually didn't lost that job.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then you might create some other fears like, oh, now I'm gonna lose my house. But it's like once you lost it, now it's like you're still here.
Right.
You still move. So it's like if we could let go of this preconception of what things are gonna be before it actually happen and just do what we need to do right now. Like
so it's the web of assumption.
Assumption, the law of assumption.
So you assuming, oh, this is going, and the crazy thing is that we get tricked by that in both ways. We get tricked by that in a negative way, and we get tricked by that in a so-called positive way, because we can be like, oh man, this is gonna go whatever way, and it don't go the exact way that we wanted to, or we perceived it to, and we lose that gift that is still in that whole scenario, or whatever the case may be. So I think the big thing is what you were saying, is an experience is just that, an experience. Everything, even like that, will pass. So life continues to go on. So having that understanding is going to be probably, I think having that understanding is probably the bedrock of anybody's success. And from what I've seen in people, reading the books, looking at the podcast, meeting people, or looking at podcasts, reading books, looking at videos, movies, whatever. That's kind of like, because it is like universal, I guess, properties that you would kind of need to develop. That is one of those things, man. It's one of those things. I hear all of these people that have done just amazing things to us, that's amazing. They all got to that point. And I think for anybody, because you asked earlier, what how does somebody even start that when they're unaware? They first, because the one thing is they are aware. Because the thing is that they know that there are certain things in their life that they don't like. They can tell you how, like, most people can tell you the things that they don't like way before they can tell you the things that they do like. Most people can tell you the things that they don't want versus the things that they want to. So naturally, we look at the things that are not so good to us, or whatever case may be. We naturally look at those things before we look at the other things. We actually have to work. That's a muscle that we actually have to work. Is looking at the things that is actually good.
Yeah.
We don't need the muscle, the negative muscle. That mug is strong as heck.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the idea behind people are not aware. Everybody's aware. Their attention is just on the wrong things that they're aware of. Yeah. So
I actually got exercise for that. We did it the other day. And I asked you what was it, 5 or 6 questions?
Yeah, the five
questions.
Thing,
yeah. So the way I'm gonna ask you the 5 questions, okay? And just see what your answers are today.
Right.
But I'm gonna break it down like my the way that I interpret it, depending on your response.
Okay.
So the first question: what's one thing you're grateful for?
One thing that I'm grateful for is progress.
Progress. Let's go.
Yeah.
What's a big win for today?
A big win today was being able to see a situation and not allow it to even, like, I just, like, I don't know, like a button switched on. I was like, ooh, this feel good. Like, I don't know. It's like I felt so in control, like I felt so in control that it was like, this must be how, like, people who are higher, like this must be their feeling, because this feels good. You feel me? Like, I can't explain it. It's just like, I feel in control.
You're like, this is what a Tesla feels
like. Yeah, you feel me? Like it's like, I don't know, man. Like, you see the smile on my face, and it just came out like, I'm like, whoa, because this, I don't know. I can't really explain it, but that is, yeah.
All right. What's a small win for you today?
Small win today is I was able to get a bill paid that I need to get paid. So small win.
What's something you can brag about yourself?
Something I can brag about myself now is I'm an author, baby. You feel me? I'm an author. Yeah, man. Yeah, I'm an author. Yeah, so yes.
And what's something that you feel like you can work on and improve yourself?
Oh man, big thing that I can work on improving myself is my ability to something that actually, because I don't want to give you no cliche answer. The thing that I can work on is not taking people's behaviors, actions, and just mind states personally.
I was gonna try to say it at the same time as you. I was gonna say that. Yeah. So yeah, I like those answers.
Yeah.
I like those answers. And like a pattern I notice, like most people get the grateful part down.
Mm-hmm.
Number one, everybody's grateful for something.
Right.
So most people appreciate things in life.
Yeah.
Another question that you actually took a delayed on, people usually answer fast, is something that they can work on themselves.
Yeah.
So what I notice is I've had people answer the first 3 questions really quick, like they wins. They really confident about how they moving. And then I've had people that kind of had to pause for a second and try to really figure those 2 things out. So the biggest connection is if you're having a hard time figuring out, what you did good today or something good about yourself, it means that you spending a lot of time focusing on other things that's not about you and your productivity. And what the way I like to look at it is, if you focusing more on what you need to work on yourself
Mhm.
versus the actual things that you're accomplishing, it creates an imbalance in you.
Yeah.
Because all you focusing on is what I gotta do next.
Yeah.
How do I get better at this?
Yeah.
How do I get better at this?
Right.
And you're not giving yourself enough time to actually see what is working.
Okay. Yeah.
You're not giving yourself enough time to appreciate the journey
Right.
and what's working on the way.
Yeah.
So I like asking those questions because it lets you know where you're at as far as your awareness on what you're focusing on. And once we can get to the point where we can balance it out, because we always want to focus on what we're grateful for. We always want to focus on positive things about ourselves. We always want to focus on what we can do to get better so that we can develop some growth within ourselves, Like anytime we're not focusing on getting better, we have a difficult time answering that question. We putting ourselves in a position where we not monitoring ourselves and developing ourselves and keeping a space for humbling ourselves and understanding like we still got areas in our life that we can work on. So I think it's a good exercise that you can do every single day, just so that you can. It's almost like self-awareness, so what you call mindfulness, right? It's a good mindfulness practice just so you can stay in touch with yourself. And if you document it, you journal it, it can be a good documentation of your journey so you can see the progress of where you were now to where you might be this time next year, as far as how much your wins didn't change, and how easy it is to share all this information, and then to see how much time you spend in your day focusing on what. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I think that those questions. Yeah, the first time you did it, I was like, man, because I've heard it before. I've heard it in the book. I think it might be the book, the 10 Habits of Most Successful People by Brandon. I can't remember the last name, but I think I might have saw it there. I know Jim Rohn's definitely said something like that. I know the other dude, Tony Robinson. I know he said some other stuff, something like that too. But I think when you asked me it was needed. So that's why it impacted me so much. Like it was needed, and it was like it's something. It was a remedy for something that I didn't know I needed, right? And so, I think if people can get asked that, or they can ask themselves that, they're going to be able to. And it's simple, like sometimes we'll give people like things to do, and it be confusing, like because we may over give like instruction to people because we don't want to lead them the wrong way. We want to make sure that they get whatever it is they get, but sometimes we can give them too much, or we can give them just too much fluff versus just getting straight to it. So I like those questions. I like the way they position, and I see the order. Right, so what obviously is the order. You ain't gonna ask what you need to improve on before you ask like what you're grateful for. It's kind of good because what you're doing is you putting them in a low frequency. With the first, if the what you improve on with the first question versus if it was the last question. You know what I mean? So,
we can get deep with that because it's all about how you approach it energetically too. So if you're approaching the great gratitude, the wins, all of it with a high energy, even when you get down to where I can improve, just
don't even matter.
Excited about what I'm about to get better at. Well, vice versa. But just kind of circle back, like we have to understand that whatever thoughts we have are, valid, and it's okay. But the reality is, it's going to shape the experiences that we have. So there's nothing wrong with the experiences you have, unless your experiences aren't something that you want to have. Right. And then if they experiences you don't want to have, it's your responsibility to change it. So the best way that I can understand to change that is just to choose what you focus on. So whatever you digest or you take in and you consuming is going to be what you put out. So I like those questions, and I like just the whole being your greatest support system and creating a space for yourself so that you can always make sure that you're aware of what's good for you and what's not.
Right.
And like, you know, when we get caught in bad cycles, man, it's just an addiction to a feeling that, you know, even though we don't want to have it, but it's like we have to have it.
Yeah.
You know, we have to have it. And, you know, like, cause I was talking to another client today, and I was explaining to her, like, hey, you know, I noticed, you know, you're focusing on this, and, you know, I've seen you for 2 months now, and this has been a big thing that concerns you. And, you know, I think it's playing a role in why you might be continuously having these feelings that keep occurring. And she was literally fighting for those. I was telling her, like, maybe we should try focusing on this, but she was fighting to prove to me that this is what's going on, and it's hard for anything to change it right now. So it's like, you know, it's like you giving it power, you giving it strength, you're addicted to it to the point that
the big word.
Even though you don't want to experience it,
that's the big word.
You're gonna still give it life.
That's the big word.
Yeah.
So most people can look at someone who is struggling with alcoholism. You know, most people can look at somebody like that. Most people can look at people who may be struggling with a drug addiction, right? And we understand those are addictions. You know what I'm saying? But we don't understand that we have emotional addictions. And that's an emotional addiction. She is literally addicted to that feeling that she has. She's addicted to it. And whatever reason, whether it's what's comfortable to her, it's what she knows, or it's what gives her the most fuel to keep going. See, because that's the thing. Like the thing is, like, we don't know everybody's triggers. There's some people, like, negativity really does, you know, spur them on. Like it makes them want to be better, whatever the case may be. But then there's some people they don't really do good with positivity. Like they don't like some people, because I used to be this way. I couldn't accept a compliment. Like it's like when somebody give me a compliment, I would downplay the compliment they gave me. It's like, that's not even your place to do that. That was literally the only thing that you need to do was accept it. Now you didn't have to gloat about it, or, you know, whatever case. You didn't have to do none of that. But the only thing you needed to do was accept it. But because of the fact that you are, you feel a certain way about yourself, you can accept that compliment. You know, so I think the big thing is we don't see it. We only see addiction, and we only notice it when it becomes a physical entity. But there are frequencies that we are addicted to, and there are certain things that trigger or enhance or keep those things living in us, right? And we can understand that by understanding, you know, the human body. We got good bacteria and bad bacteria, right? But the fact that we have good bacteria is always keeping the bad bacteria in check, right? Because if it didn't, we literally kill ourselves. You know, that's what we do, right? We would kill ourselves.
No, we just need to kill our habits.
Right.
Have that bad bacteria kill the habits, man.
Exactly,
you know
man.
I mean?
Like your good bacteria, or your good emotions need to be the thing that is controlling your day-to-day, that's controlling your reality. Now, that doesn't mean that you got to be walking around smiling all the time. That is I think that's a misconception that when people think, oh, I got to be joyful or happy, that means I got to actually be smiling and all that stuff. No, what it means is you need to create a pocket of peace, whatever that may be. I don't care what it is. Whatever that pocket of peace is, you need to hold on to it. It's like your keys. You know, that's the like, if in order for you to get into something or lock something out or whatever the case may be, you need your keys. And having those keys is going to always, when you keep those keys on you, you will always know that, hey, I do have my keys on me, so I can go to my car. I can go to, you feel me? So it's like, it's on autopilot, right? Because that's what the whole thing is, right? Is become aware, and then detach from the awareness and create an autopilot.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
You know, I listened to Dr. Joe Dispenza, and he asked this question. I like, yeah. So it's just a connection between your mind and your body. So the question is, who do you think is in control?
Right.
Do you think your mind's controlling your actions, or your body's? The mind would be the conscious mind. The body would be the subconscious mind. And I ask a lot of people. Most people will say the mind. You know,
Right.
yeah. But some people can't admit that their body is actually
In control more than their mind is. Yeah.
Their mind. When that alarm clock go off in the morning, and you told yourself you was gonna get up at 6 o'clock, but you decided to hit the snooze button,
man.
Your mind told you was gonna get up at 6. Your body said, "Hey, hit the snooze button. We don't feel like getting up, right?
Yeah, we're not getting up at 6 o'clock.
When you go get that cheat meal, you said you wasn't gonna eat this no more.
Yeah, right.
Something told you. I felt like eating it. You think you was in control?
Big facts. No,
you weren't in control. But it's like as soon as you recognize that, once you recognize that, hey, I'm allowing my body to control my actions. It's an important time to start taking responsibility too, because what can happen is you can become a slave to your body.
Yeah,
you can become immobile or paralyzed.
Yeah,
not even able to move forward.
Yeah,
and people don't realize what's happening.
Yeah,
like your body is in so much control right now that you can't even take action on the thing that you want to take action on.
Yeah,
you're sitting here in your feelings and upset right now, and just not taking action.
Because, right. Yeah, right. Yeah. It's literally like your body, you allowing your body to, you fighting your own body. Like your body is fighting your mind. Yeah. But that's the thing though. The body is its own system. You don't tell your heart to beat. You don't tell your lungs to breathe. You don't tell your freaking pancreas, if you got one. Some people don't. To pump out toxins or to accept certain things from the bloodstream. You don't tell your body that. Your body does that without your knowing at all. Yeah. So for you to understand, for people to believe that the idea behind, oh yeah, my body is my body. No. Your body is only your body when you decide that your body is your body. Yeah. That thing gonna run until it's ready to not run no more.
Yeah, like all things though, you need balance, because the memory, the subconscious, it protects us in some ways too. It helps us to be productive, but we gotta let our body know who's boss though.
Yep.
And once we realize that we out of control or we out of balance, that's when we need to start being intentional. And that's when we go back and circle back to the beginning of this conversation. Like, what do you do when you got to bounce back? You know what I mean? That's why it's important to like get to those exercises and wake up at 4:30 in the morning and go for the run. Cause man, it's cold outside. I don't feel like doing that, man. I want to hit the snooze button. But once you get up and you start doing this and you keep doing it and you keep doing it and you keep doing it, that's your will saying this is what I want and this is what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And I used to take cold showers every day. And I did it for the very fact that I wanted to make myself uncomfortable to the point where it's like, I don't want to feel like, but I'm going to stand there because I told myself I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like the more and more we practice these things, the more when those situations come around where our body start to take over, it's easy for us to be like, nah, we're not going to the fast food restaurant. Like, nah, we're not hitting that snooze button.
Yeah.
No, we're not entertaining that argument. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're not doing that. So, but I feel like that's important, and, and essential to what we're saying, like working out, this is what we do, but that's what we say, like this physical stuff we do, the making this podcast, having this conversation, listening to each other's all just physical aspects of our reality, and we truly, to get to this point, we had to make a decision, right?
Yep.
And we've been talking about doing this for how long?
Man, we've been talking about doing this podcast for at least, I want to say 6 months.
Yeah, it's been a while.
I want to say like 6 months.
It's been in the works, but we had to get to a place where we felt like this is something that was possible. We knew we could do it, but like possible like today.
Right. Yeah.
Like we can make time in our schedule to make it happen. Yeah. And then we had to create a thought process about how we're going to show up for this.
Yep.
So this is our first podcast.
Yeah.
And I feel like, man, it's good conversation.
No, man, I think it's good conversation. Yeah. And I think that we gave people practical things that they can do.
Yeah.
Pay attention to your body.
Yep.
like the first. So I would say the first thing for those people who are not aware to get aware is to start to see who is in control. That's all you gotta do.
Yep.
Simple. Who is in control? That's it.
But hey, we gotta like get a little deeper with that idea because we probably still, I guess if you're not understanding that concept, this video is not for you right now. But because if you think that you're still in control right now, this video is not for you because you're not understanding what we're saying.
Right.
What we're saying is that if you constantly find yourself in a situation that you don't desire and you don't want to do it, you're not in control right now. That's what we're saying.
Yeah.
So in order for you to take control, you have to do the very thing that you want to do.
Right.
You have to do it.
Yeah.
And you have to let go of doing that same pattern and that same experiencing these same experiences over and over and over. You got to break the cycle.
Yeah.
And the way that you do that is by just doing that very thing. If like doing the podcast.
Yeah.
We've been talking about it. So we're doing the very thing right now.
Yeah.
Working out. You keep talking about, man, I ain't got no time in the day. Just do it.
Yep.
Just get up 10 minutes early. Just do it.
Yep.
Break that very thing. Prove to yourself that this thing can happen.
Yep.
That's what we're saying.
That's it, really. That's it. And know for a fact that you are going to slip. You're gonna slip. You're gonna slip. You are not gonna become aware and stay aware. That's not how it works. It is a muscle. Awareness is a muscle. Just like any other thing that we talking about. That is a muscle. That is a muscle that needs to be worked. And so making sure because I don't want people to be like, oh, because motivation can trick you. like somebody can listen to this and be like, man, I'm gonna do it, and that motivation and how you think you can run through a wall until you actually try to run through the wall. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can be like, oh shit, I guess I can't run through this wall. So understanding that there's a portion where you are going to feel invincible. You're gonna feel like you're on top of the world, but you're going to come down. That coming down is when the work actually begins. Sit.
Yeah. And I love this story because everybody tells it, but like Michael Jordan flu game, like he scored 40 points and he had the flu. And it's like for him to even get to this point where he could score 40 points, he had to know how to score 40 points.
Right.
Yeah. And the fact that he was able to do it while he was sick, it's just he's operating on a whole nother level because this is who he's been being.
Yep.
He's being that person that can score 40 points.
Yeah.
No matter what condition.
Yep.
So that's how we got to operate. If we want to be fit, if we want to be financially stable, if we want to be have good, meaningful relationships. These are the things we got to practice on a regular.
Yeah.
And we got to be efficient at it, and we got to do it exactly how we want it to, how we want to be at it.
Yeah.
We got to do that very thing, and the more we practice it, when that situation come, like you were saying, we gonna be ready to compete.
Yep.
All right, we're not gonna fold. We're gonna be like, nah, we ready.
Right, we
Let's
good.
go.
We
Let's go.
We got this. We're prepared for this. We're ready for this. This ain't nothing. We know what this is already.
Yeah. And we can't just do it when we feel like doing it.
No.
That doesn't work. No. Like when people be like, being happy and stuff like that. Like, it's easy to be happy when everything's working out for you. But like the time you got to practice it is when things are going crazy around
when
you.
The sky is falling. Like that's actually when you need to practice.
Hey, that doesn't make sense. It makes perfect sense, right?
Yeah.
That's when you got to practice feeling good.
Yeah.
Like being patient. What does patience mean if you got all the time in the world, right?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
The only way you can truly be patient is if something crazy and chaotic is happening and you can keep your composure, right?
Yep.
So you got to practice these things, but it ain't gonna matter until you get that test.
Yep.
Right?
It's not gonna matter until you get that test, man. It's coming. The test is gonna come, and this is the thing. It don't announce itself. It's like there's a pop quiz. It's not a study for this. No. It's a pop quiz, and you feel me? Like
it's like the ultimate surprise party.
Right,
like you didn't know this was coming, and
exactly,
just came out of nowhere.
Surprise, anxiety. Like, wait, what the heck? Yeah. So yeah, man. So that I think that is a great thing to do and to have, and I like I like that we giving practical things. I don't want to just be up here talking for the sake of talking. There's a lot of people that can talk. They're great people. Talk way better. Than, They literally went to school to be talkers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is not that.
Yeah. If you're the person at a party that like listen to other people talk, this is a good this is a good podcast for you.
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly right.
Because you want to join the conversation, but you rather listen.
Right. Yeah, but you rather listen, or you just you've been tuned. You tuned yourself to a certain frequency, and you don't talk because you can learn a lot from people, mostly what not to do.
True. Yeah. Hey, but I think we're not. I think we had a good.
I think this was good. I think this was fire, man. Yeah, I think this was good.
We're gonna keep this going. So this first episode, say something.
Yes, sir.
You know, and I'm Coach Swift, and I help people that's putting themselves last to put themselves first.
Let's go.
All right, that's what we do. You know, stop putting yourself last. All right, like we said, you know, you are your greatest support system. So you gotta put yourself first. You gotta lift yourself up. You gotta encourage yourself. Okay.
Let's go. Yeah, and hey, I'm Everyday Alchemy Keys, and we doing that shadow work, baby. All that surfacey stuff. Nah, we digging deep, because when we can dig deep, that is where we find treasure. So let's go.
Let's go.